Do you remember the first time you saw yourself in the mirror?
Oh gosh. Shocked, scared, um, and just not ready to face the world.
Mm.
I used to basically tell myself, like, why did you keep me alive? Like, why am I here? The first day we were basically sent home. We were finally sent home. My neighbors that I used to play with, he comes in the house. He saw me for the first time. And he went, oh gosh, I'm getting emotional.
It's okay.
He went out screaming and crying like he saw a monster. He was like, that's not Shalom. That's not Shalom.
Hello, and welcome to What It's Really Like with me, your host, Molly Burke, where we have interesting conversations with interesting people. And today I am so excited because when I sat down and I started thinking about launching this podcast, I made like a mental list. I was like, who are the types of like dream guests, people I want to sit down and talk to? And you were like literally in my top 3 in my head.
Stop.
I was like, obviously I need my girl Shalom.
Stop. Don't make me cry.
It's so funny because before we started recording, Shalom was like, girl, I have nothing interesting to say. And I was like, you are interesting, ma'am. Like, you are the moment. You don't need to bring drama and tea on here. I just want you.
Listen, and I love that.
So I'm going to keep it easy to start. We're going to ease you in with a very simple question for those who don't know, who is Shalom Blac?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Shalom Blac, and me and Molly, we go way, way back. We had the same manager. We moved to LA around the same time. But to kind of introduce myself, I've been a full content creator for nearly 10 years now. And I started off on YouTube, and I just shared my story about being a burn survivor. But initially, when I got on social media, I really was just trying to get clients because I was a makeup artist. And so I was posting myself, posting my friends. People started noticing, I looked a little different. And so they were asking questions. And then I decided to share that. And then I really went viral when I did the Power of Makeup video that just kind of skyrocketed my whole career in social media. And yeah, I've been doing this full time and now married, have a baby, and my girl is engaged now. So I feel like our life has just always just
Parallel.
aligned, literally.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
I feel like way back in the day, like we met when like YouTube flew us out to do a panel together
Yes.
about creators making content with purpose.
Yeah,
And that's how we first met, like probably almost a decade ago now.
literally.
And I remember just like instantly there was like I was like, this girl is the whole vibe. And ever since we've done like so many different panels together and all these
Mhm.
different things. And like we just continue to find ourselves, like you said, like in parallel in our
Literally.
lives, which is just so fun to kind of like grow with each other
Yeah.
in this career because I feel like in those early days, we were two of very few creators who were making content with like a bit more of a story behind it.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it's just been so cool to see you grow. And like I was just telling you, your content lately, I'm just like pop off. You are I feel like in your glow up era, like
Yes.
I feel like I see you and I'm like, she is in her most authentic,
Oh my
centered self. Like I see you and I feel like you are glowing internally.
yeah.
It just is so beautiful to see how far that you've come on your journey. And we're going to get all into it. We're going to get from beginning to how you became the icon Shalom Blac that you are today.
Let's get it.
So let's rewind. You grew up in Nigeria.
I did.
Tell me about your childhood and your family.
Oh my gosh, my childhood. I think the other day I was just thinking about it. I was just like, wow, I have come so far from where I came from. And I don't know if you're aware, I recently went back home last year. I went back to Nigeria after 20 years of being in the US. But I grew up in northern Nigeria. In a very small town. It's rural Nigeria, so it's very rough. We struggle as four of us kids, and then our parents didn't really grow in a positive environment. I would say, didn't see my dad as a positive influence in my life or present father. I would say, but being in Nigeria at that age, I didn't realize I was so young because I had to grow so fast. Until moving to the US, that's when I was like, oh, I was like under 12 years old when I was in Nigeria because I was doing adult things.
Mm.
I was going to the supermarket because my mom had a store where we basically sold groceries items, so like tomatoes, pepper, and all of that. So I would have to go to the supermarket wholesale to get the stuff, bring it to the store. And mind you, I was like 9, 10 years old. And that was part of my responsibility because at this time, my older brother and sister were in boarding school. So I was pretty much there with my mom. Yeah, so it was pretty tough, to be honest. When I say like seeing me today, I can't believe that we are out of it. But I'm glad to say I'm out of it, and we have grown so much, and we have gotten the opportunity to move to the US and get this lifetime of opportunity to just be a content creator, which is insane to me. But yeah, that's kind of like my upgrowing.
I,
Wasn't
I
easy.
feel like the true OGs will remember when we did a collab many years
Yeah.
ago when you made me a blonde and you transformed me. And then I did your makeup.
Yes.
That was so fun. And I just look at like us then. I'm like, we were such
We
babies.
were.
We truly have come so far. And I can understand what what you mean when you say you didn't realize how much you grew up, because when you don't have any other context,
At
like when
all.
that's the only life you knew and you're looking around your village and that's what you're seeing in your peers, to you, that's what everybody's life is like. And
Mhm.
then you move to the US at 12 and you look around and you're like,
I'm a baby.
what's happening?
Yeah.
Like all my peers are watching like Cartoon Network
Literally.
and playing with
Uh,
fidget toys and like skateboarding and like being children. And
yeah.
I'm sure that was like quite an awakening to realize how different your reality was from theirs. But I want to talk about the catalyst of why you came to the US,
Yeah.
the day that really completely changed your life
Yeah.
as a young child. Can you walk me through the
Yeah.
day of your burns?
So basically, one of the reasons why we got the opportunity to come to the US was because of my burns. So me and my younger sister, I was about 9. My little sister was 4 years old. And like I mentioned in my mom's store, we basically help her around. But on this particular day, I got so tired. I'm sleepy. We do not go home until like 1 a.m. at night.
Wow.
So on this day, I'm tired and I was just like, okay, I'm going to go lay down. And normally I can go inside the store because my mom also fries like fast food in a big, oh, I was about to curse,
You girl, be yourself.
in a
Be
big
you.
ass pot. It's like this big ass pot of oil that she cooks in, right? And then when she's done, she puts it aside. So this day, I went into the store, inside the store to sleep. And then I saw a cat. That's why I don't get along with cats, okay? I have my beef with cats. Please don't come for me. It's personal. But I saw a cat and all you could see is their glowing eyes, and I was terrified. So I decided I'm not going to sleep in there. I'm going to go ahead and sleep outside under the table, which is kind of close to where my mom rests the hot oil. And I'm sleeping there. And then my older sister had my little sister on her back, and she also lay my little sister next to me. And mind you, this is not something that we have never done. We have done this routine before. We slept under the table, you know? While we're sleeping on the table, the oil was basically resting on like a round stone that my mom would rest it, and then they pack up all the stuff, put it back in the store for us to get ready to go home. So while they were doing that, out of nowhere, to this day, we don't know if it was accidentally pushed by someone or if it just was imbalanced. But this was a routine that has been done for years, to be quite honest with you. So there was no thought of like, oh, this can fall. Out of nowhere, we just started screaming. I got up screaming, crying, like literally just like peeling my skin off. I know it's graphic.
Oh, just my heart hurts.
um, just crying. And mind you, they are students because we were frying in like a campus, outside of a campus. So there are students in classes too at that time. So everybody is hearing this like loud screaming and crying. So they're coming down. People were pouring water on us, and I can literally smell my skin burning. I'm crying. So we were put, mind you, at this time, I'm going to kind of tell the story based on my point of view. I can't see anything. So they basically put us in a bike and rushed us to the closest hospital that there is. So I'm crying. And then I started hearing someone else is crying, and it sounded like my little sister. So I looked. I was able to open my eyes. I looked, and I saw my little sister's face. The most horrifying thing a child can ever see.
It's probably burned into your mind. No, no
Oh,
pun intended.
oh my gosh. I started crying for my little sister because I know the physical pain that I'm in.
Mm.
And I'm looking at my 4-year-old little sister who was kind of like my baby. I was taking care of her. So to see her face and see her in that condition also crying, it broke me. And I started telling my mom, save her, please save her. Crying for my mom to basically call this pastor that we used to watch on TV that does healing. I'm being so young. I'm just like, take me to him. Take us to Pastor Chris. Take us to this pastor so he can heal us. Because I truly believe if he just lay his hand, we were just going to be instantly healed away from this pain and all of this. Crying. The doctors there and nurses. Well, actually, there was no doctor in the hospital. There was just nurses. They couldn't do anything for us. So basically, they had to take us back in the motorcycle and rush us to the next biggest hospital. And when I got there, I was in so much pain. My body just completely shut down. I fainted. I don't know what else happened. But yeah, so we were in the hospital for, I think, 3 full months, just recovering. And yeah, that basically changed my entire life, my entire childhood. Coming home was just something else.
I've heard your story so many times, obviously, and it's still just like my heart aches. I can't imagine the physical pain of burns. Like,
Yeah, no.
it just sounds like truly a nightmare in real life,
And
and
it
I'm
was.
so sorry that you had to go through that. One thing that really struck me when you just shared that is the part about the pastor,
Yeah.
because in my memoir, Unseen, I talk pretty early on in the book about how as a child, I believed the doctors and I believed the charities when they told me that I would be cured.
Mhm.
Because as a kid, when we hear things like a pastor saying, I can put my hands on and heal you, or we hear a charity say, we're going to cure you in 10 years, we're innocent and we're naive and we don't understand the nuance. We don't understand that they're being optimistic
Yeah.
or they're using it as hope or inspiration,
Right.
that it's not literal.
Right.
As kids, we're so black and white. And
Right.
so everything to us is literal. And I know the feeling of like believing and trusting in adults who told me something and then getting to the point of realizing that what they said was optimism and not factual.
Right.
And like that letdown and that hurt. So I feel like that really
I
stuck with me.
I literally, for so long, I was so confused why they were not calling him, why they were not bringing him. I'm like, all this time you guys have showed us videos and sermons. Why are you not calling him? This is the time that I need him, And but now I'm like, I needed something way more. Maybe just God Himself, not another man. But yeah, you're right.
The hospital. So you're there for 3 or 4 months and your sister was burned as well.
Yeah.
What was the experience of being in the hospital? What degree of burns did you have and where were they located?
Yeah, so I had some third-degree burns. Actually, I would say third-degree burns probably everywhere. But majority was my head and my face. So my entire head, besides like a little patch of the middle of my head, I still get a little bit of hair that grows there. But pretty much, I would say 95% of my head was completely burned. And around that time, I had braids on my head. So for some reason, they couldn't really tell that I got burned on my head. So the braids were still there, but my face, my head was just swollen up and swollen up. And so they finally decided, let's take this down. And that's when they discovered that, oh, that's where the burns really are. So yeah, we were in the hospital for so long, but the most traumatic thing that I remember being in the hospital is the cleaning.
Mm.
because every single morning we have to clean our wounds. So mind you, they put a bandage on it. And to clean it, it has to be soaked. So for like hours, we're sitting in the bathroom, getting our heads soaked just so that it's not painful when they have to like peel the bandages off, well, the gauze. Um, and I remember that being like, it's like getting burned all over again. It was terrifying. It was so painful. Um, but I mean, eventually it started getting better, and we were admitted into like a special room because our burns was so bad that we couldn't be with like the public. Because back in Nigeria, at least the hospital that I went to, it's like a big open space and then there are beds. Kind of like when you go to like the emergency room. But at least in the emergency room, they have like curtains to kind of divide you guys. But everybody is just in the big open with their bedside. But because of our burns, we were put in like a little private rooms for us to get to a better place before we were going to be put out in the public. But yeah.
What was the reasoning behind not being able to be out with everybody? Is it like an infection risk with the open wounds?
I do think it has to do with the infection, and also they just didn't want to, like, I guess, scare the other kids because it was kind of like a kids hospital that we were in. At least the section that we were in, it was kids.
That is, it's really honestly a miracle that you're not actually blind or didn't like develop any other issues. Like the fact that you were burned specifically all over your head, face, neck area, the fact that your hearing and your vision is okay is I feel like a miracle.
Keyword, a miracle, to be quite honest, because sometimes I still wonder how I'm still standing. How both of me and my sister, for it to happen to both of us and we are still here. But one thing I remember when we were in the hospital, I couldn't use my fingers. My fingers were not functional because they were also burned, right? So I basically was given like something to be exercising my hand. And that's how I was able to like get my fingers to straighten up. And now my fingers were like really great. So I would say they did a really great job, at the hospital. I know being Nigerian, sometimes we do complain about the health system there, but honestly, the hospital did such an amazing job.
I think every country complains about their healthcare. That's what I've realized. Like, I feel like nobody is happy with their healthcare, regardless of where they live. Everybody will find a thing to complain about. And I feel like being that my family is from Europe and then I grew up in Canada and then I've lived in the US for almost 10 years. What I've learned is nowhere's perfect.
Right.
Nowhere has everything. You got to find a place who has enough good that it counteracts the bad, and the bad is something you can accept.
Right.
But nowhere is going to get it all right. And I truly feel like medicine is one where
Oh my God.
everybody's going to gripe that the system that they have is broken for XYZ reason.
Listen. That is so true. But yeah.
So in those 4 months, what were they doing beyond just like dressing changes? Like, did you start the skin graft process? Were you having surgeries? How do they go about healing third-degree burns?
So when I was in the hospital in Nigeria, we didn't do any surgery. So it was all about the cleaning, the gauze and stuff. But one of the treatment that I would say they did was put in honey. It's like manuka honey, I believe.
Ooh, I
You've heard of
love
that?
manuka honey.
Yes. But oh my gosh, it's so painful.
Wow.
Imagine putting that on a like fresh wound. Oh my gosh.
I just know they would not be doing that in North America. I just know the U.S. hospitals are not whipping manuka honey out.
So there's this other cream that they would use, right? And I will always beg for that cream because that cream is like cooling. It's not painful, but it doesn't heal as fast. It's not as effective. So they had to use the manuka. And when they use that, oh my gosh, you just need to hear the scream coming out of that room from me and my little sister.
That's so interesting because I would think manuka honey would be very soothing and has lots of antibacterial properties, which I'm sure is why they used it.
Yeah.
But wow, that's so interesting that it really hurt.
Yeah, no, it's painful on a fresh wound. It is. But I would say it definitely heal our scars I guess you could say 3-4 months was quick. Not quick, but
I'm sure it was not quick to live
it was
through.
not. Oh, please. I was so ready to get out of there.
What did you do all day? Like,
So funny enough, I made friends. I made really good friends with 2 boys. Both of them broke their legs. Well, one of them broke their leg and the other one was shot in the leg. Um, but they became like my best friends. I got married to one of them at the hospital. It's crazy kid stuff. But we really became friends. We were always together because now at this point I could go outside and play with them, and they were just waiting for me, you know? I remember when they used to look at me before, we became friends, I would just roll my eyes at them like, "Ugh, what are they looking at?" But yeah, we became so close. We started competing with each other when we're getting our wounds clean to see who's gonna cry. "Are you gonna cry today? Are you gonna cry today?" And I remember the first day that I didn't cry. They were in the room with me
oh,
because they take us to another room, so they basically came to, like, support, and while they were there, I tug it through. I was like, "I'm not gonna cry," and I didn't cry, and that was the last time I cry when I get my wounds clean.
you are such a strong person. Truly, I can't imagine going through something like that at such a young age.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you saw yourself in the mirror?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Shocked, scared, um, and just not ready to face the world.
Mm,
I used to basically tell myself, like, "Why did you keep me alive? Like, why am I here?" I didn't want to be here anymore. I just felt like my whole entire life has been changed. I don't recognize this person at all, but I'm supposed to just be the strong person and, like, there's only so much that your parents can tell you, you know what I mean?
mhm.
And you also just kinda expect that, like, "Yeah, of course you're gonna tell me that." But I
Right.
remember the first day we were basically, sent home. We were finally sent home. My neighbors that I used to play with, he comes in the house. He saw me for the first time, and he went oh gosh, I'm getting emotional.
It's okay.
He went out screaming and crying like he saw a monster. He was like, "That's not Shalom, that's not Shalom." And he never wants to come into our house. It took him a very, very long time to look at me in the eyes. He was terrified of me, and I'm looking like, "This was my friend." And now he's scared. I did not wanna go outside. I couldn't go outside. Mind you, we're in Nigeria. It's hot. Couldn't go outside without a long sleeve, without covering up. And it didn't help that my dad would basically force me to cover up because he also was having some kind of shame with that. So then I got so used to covering up and I'm like, oh, because when you're a kid, sometimes you're just kind of like, okay, la-di-da-di.
Mhm.
But my dad would be like, when we're going out, he'd be like, take the scarf and put it over. And then it became a thing that I'm like, yes, cover up. But
I when I went blind at 14,
yeah.
I remember just feeling like, "Why me?"
Mm.
And I grew up Catholic. I'm Irish, we're all Catholic. And at 14, I was supposed to make my confirmation.
Mm. Wow.
And I had just gone blind, and I told my parents, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna
Right.
do it. I'm not going to confirm because if God was real, he wouldn't do this.
Right.
He wouldn't do this to somebody. And for you, it was this moment of, like, looking in the mirror and seeing something you didn't recognize. For me, it was not being able to look in the mirror at all
Mm.
anymore.
Oh my
And
God.
at these such young ages, we had to have this moment of, like, "Why am I going through this? Why me?"
Yeah.
And I just, like, feel that moment so deeply
The
in my soul.
change, the instant change, and the hope, like, you feel that, okay, maybe this can get better.
Yeah. It also really
Yeah.
sticks with me, your dad's shame and how he instilled that feeling through his actions and words into you,
Mhm.
feeling like you should cover up and feeling internal shame because, I've had this discussion a lot with my ophthalmologist, my eye specialist. Every time I've gone to see her in the last probably 10 years, she asks me the same thing, like, how can I convey to parents that they need to inform their children of their diagnosis and not hide it? Because that's a big issue in my community, is parents having so much shame and embarrassment and fear around their child's vision loss that they just don't tell the child.
Right.
Which is so harmful for so many reasons.
Right.
And my parents never hid it, and they always acted like it was not a big deal.
Right.
They always empowered me around my vision loss, and were like, you're going to kick ass anyways. Like,
Right. And you
we're going to
are.
find ways. And because of that, that's how I viewed it. Like,
it instilled like confidence.
It instilled confidence in me that even when I did get depressed and really struggle with suicidal ideation and ask the why me, I still knew my parents were so proud of me and they believed I could do it. And their belief in me meant the world when I didn't have it in myself.
Wow.
And I wish that all parents could understand that you're teaching your child how to feel about themselves.
It starts at home.
It starts at home. When you are speaking with shame, fear, embarrassment around your child's circumstance, whether it be a facial difference or burns and scars, whether it be a disability or, progressive disease, you're teaching that child how to feel about it themselves. And it breaks my heart that you had that experience. And it makes me that much more proud of where you are today in your journey with showing yourself, not just in day-to-day life, but on the internet.
Right.
For millions of people where anybody can say anything and you do it.
Scary world.
Scary world. And you do it with so much pride and confidence. And I just love that for you, that you've been able to reclaim that. And we're going to circle back to that later. But yeah, I had to say that because
thank you.
I'm really sorry that happened to you in your recovery. And I have a lot of friends in the disability community with facial differences.
Yeah.
And I hear those stories about going out in public and having kids stare and point and make rude comments, or even adults sometimes. I feel like I've heard can be worse than children.
You get it from adults. And I feel like that hurts even more because you're like,
you
are an adult. You know better. Versus a 2-year-old, 4-year-old looking at me like, But you can tell.
Yeah.
And instead of and sometimes even parents, it's instead of kind of correcting your child, don't stare, it's rude. It's kind of
they stare along with them. Yeah.
And it's just ugh, I want to get out of here.
I feel like all of us with disabilities or facial differences know that feeling, growing up when I was using a cane in public as a little girl. Everybody would always stare. And when I was younger, I had enough vision to see that they were staring. Wow. And it made me feel so embarrassed. It made me not want to use the cane.
Show, like a freak show.
Yes. It's I know I'm different. You don't need to stare and remind me everywhere I go. And it's just it's such an awful feeling. And I get that people are curious.
Yeah.
But when you're the one that's being stared at everywhere, it's such an awful feeling. And
I don't care about your curiosity.
That's for you. Take it home. I feel it kind of made me build this, if you're going to stare, I'm going to give you something good to look at.
Oh my gosh.
Mentality.
Listen, I was so rude. This was when I was in the hospital, right? When we kind of go outside, there's a bunch of visitors come into the hospital walking around. And I remember there was one day this lady was walking and I got this courage. I was like, you know what? When they stare at me, I'm going to stare back at them and then I'm going to curse them out. And so they're walking past and they was just staring. And I went crazy like a maniac. I started cursing them out. What the fuck are you looking at? Blah, 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 blah. Because I was so pissed. I was so tired of it. And mind you, this were adults.
Mm-hmm.
And then come to find out, they were our new our new neighbors that lived in the same compound as my other neighbors. Just yeah, we remember when we came to the hospital, we were walking around and you cursed us out. I was like, oh, well.
Now you know who I am. I put you in your place once. So you don't have to do it again.
Yeah, no, it's so tough. And I feel like I went with that behavior for so long And I internalize thinking that every single person that stares at me, they must be thinking the worst or are so like disgusted by me. And I remember meeting one girl at the mall. I went to the mall one day with my friends after school. We are by the food court. And then I noticed some girls were just staring at me and kind of like whispering. And I was like, ugh, I was rolling my eyes, whatever. Mind you, I look fabulous because I went to high school, like makeup and everything, you know? Part of it was insecurity, whatever. But I looked so cute. And her friend walked up to me and was like, "Hey, like sorry we're staring, but my friend is also a burn survivor." And she was just so like uplifted and just thought you're so beautiful. And my heart just like sank because I was like, oh my gosh, that's why she was staring at me. Mind you, I haven't seen her face yet.
Mm.
And so then I went up to her and we just started like talking about like our journey being burn survivors and all of that. And I was just like, oh my gosh. You know, I was in my head thinking this person was staring at me because they're thinking the worst. But the whole time, they thought I was like the most wonderful person, being able to see somebody that they can also connect with. So,
That is such an important life lesson for all of us, that people aren't always staring out of hatred or negativity. Like sometimes it's out of admiration and out of
literally.
love. And if we can walk around the world and just assume that everybody who's staring is doing it in a positive way, like
Right.
we can make that choice for ourselves,
Literally.
right? Like I can choose to believe that everyone is staring with judgment or negativity or hatred or pity.
Right.
Or I can choose to believe that they're staring because I'm so fabulous and so beautiful and
That.
so wonderful. And I want to fill my mind with those thoughts.
Right. And that is what I do now.
I
That
love
is
that.
exactly what I do now. Like, oh, you're staring, I'll give you a smile.
I can imagine on your journey recovering, being the big sister with your younger sister, feeling like your baby who you were caring for.
Yeah.
You must have at times felt a responsibility to be like to be strong
Oh,
through the
yes.
recovery for her, to
Oh, yeah.
demonstrate for her that resilience. What did that feel like? What was that dynamic?
You know what? Ooh, here I go getting emotional again. I feel like my I feel like my little sister actually saved me. It's truly because of her that I decided to stay and fight. Because there has been so many times that I was ready to go. I was ready to take it there. And knowing that I don't want my sister to follow my direction stopped me. Because I was like, if I do this, then she's also going to think that she could do this.
Yeah.
But if I fight, then she could also think that she can, you know, still have a life and also fight. That is going to be okay. If big sister is okay, I'm going to be okay. And literally, that is one of the reasons why I kept pushing. Because every single time I had that negative thought of ending it, I was just like, but I don't want my sister to. But then it's kind of cowardly that you think it's okay for you to do it, but not okay for somebody else to do it.
Wow. That is both so heavy to bear that, but also so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can relate to that, and in that even now as a blind woman, I know there's so many young blind girls who look to me.
Mm.
And as much as that feels like a huge responsibility and feels really scary sometimes,
Yeah.
it also keeps me so accountable, and it also makes me want to push myself more to show them
Yeah.
what they can reach.
Right.
And I think it is both a lot to hold, but a beautiful gift
Yeah.
to have that in your life.
Yeah.
And to have that person who in many ways has helped you survive this,
Right. Without even
be your
knowing.
family. Yeah, it's so
Yes.
beautiful.
You know, it's insane, but I'm glad that we don't wish it on anybody, but I'm glad that we went through that journey together. Because I can't imagine if it was just her or if it was just me. I mean, yeah, it'd be okay if it was just me. You know, for so long, I did say I wish it just happened to me because I can tell, like, even though I am in a good place, my sister still kind of struggle with it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I just wish I can just take that away from her completely. So she never had to like experience this, but this was, I guess, part of our journey together, and it's nice. I would say sometimes, like me and my little sister, we kind of gang up on my older sister. It's like, yeah, we have our own thing.
We
But-
have an unbreakable bond. You wouldn't
Okay,
get it.
literally, you
We're the
don't get
burn
it.
girls. You don't understand.
So yeah.
My disease is genetic. So
Right.
there was a world in which it was my brother who got it. Either we both had it or just he had it. And he doesn't, thankfully. And
Oh, he doesn't have it
he
anymore.
doesn't, no.
Wow.
And I often throughout my life have reflected on like the fact that I'm so grateful it was me,
Mm,
because as hard as it has been to be the one of the two of us who had to have the disease and go blind, I'm so grateful he didn't have to go through this pain. Like, I would rather carry it
right.
than to have to watch him carry it.
One thing I've learned or stuck with me, and I'm going to bring God back into this, that God doesn't give you a battle that you cannot handle. So when I really look at it, I'm like, yeah, this is a battle that I'm able to handle. Your battle is not my battle.
Mhm.
And somehow you're able to handle this battle and you're coming at the top. And it wasn't easy, but yeah.
I always get those comments, and I'm sure you've received comments like this too, because I feel like every person who's like sharing a hardship and their life online gets these comments like, "Oh, if that was me, I'd kill myself," or
Right.
"I could never survive that. You're so strong." And I always think you don't know how strong you are until you're handed an unimaginable weight to bear, and you find this inner strength that you simply can't tap into unless you need it.
Until you're in it.
Until you're in it. And then we as humans are designed to be so resilient. We're designed to be so adaptable.
Absolutely.
And it is remarkable. And as much as there are times when I'm like, damn, I wish I had not had to go through that. Or like,
Yeah.
I look back at my 14-year-old self and everything she had to go through. And I'm like, I think I couldn't do it again. Like, I'm like, how on earth did I survive
Did
that?
you go that long?
But I did it.
And now it's like, do you almost feel like it is your norm now?
It is, yeah.
Do you imagine, do you ever, like now, you being who you are, getting as far as you have gotten, can you imagine your life being anything else?
It's so hard to think about what that other version of myself would be.
Yeah.
Like, it every time I sit and I try to think, like, who would sighted Molly be? I can't. I know that there's so many things that she would be able to do that I might not be able to in this life. But I know that this version of me has so much more purpose and passion and drive and direction, so much more community, so much more connection.
Yes.
Sure, that Molly might have been able to have more fun, like solo traveling than I
Yeah.
would. She might have been able to pursue a career as a stylist or a makeup artist.
Yeah.
She might have had a career doing soccer through college. And none of that was possible with my blindness. But what is that? Right? Like, the life that I have has meaning and depth and community and like so much more richness.
Right.
That I feel like balances out the heaviness.
You found like other talents that you didn't even know that you had.
And that's what going through these life-altering circumstances gifts you with. I want to go back to when you were 12 years old.
Yes.
So 9 years old is when your accident happened. You went through 3 to 4 months in the hospital. You went home. What was the catalyst to being 12 years old and coming to the US? What did those years in between look like, and why did your family make the decision then?
Yeah. So at this time, my aunt lived in the US. She's been living in the US for over 30 years. She has a family here and everything like that. So hearing that news and hearing that we were girls, I guess one of her first thought was like, this is going to be hard on them. Especially like, being in a relationship. Like, it's crazy that this was part of the thought, but, like, who you know, they're gonna have a hard time getting married,
Mhm.
So, like, we need to do something to make sure, like, things are a bit easy. So one of my aunt thought was, like, bring us to America to get surgery, because we didn't get any surgery while we were back in Nigeria. And my scars were way more, like, pronounced when I was back in Nigeria. So, yeah, basically, my aunt started planning for us to come to the US and get medical help. And they were able to find a hospital that was going to do our surgery pretty much for free. So then now they have to, like, raise money. But when they were doing all that, I was going to school. I had to go back to school, and that was so freaking tough because now I had to face my classmates. I was really hoping that I never had to go back to school ever. I was just like, I could just stay here. My life is done. Like, what is the point of life? But my parents was like, absolutely not. So school was tough, but I would say I had some really great friends. People stare, people talk, some people were mean, obviously. And I did feel the shift on how I was being treated, like in school and church and everything like that. But yeah, after I think maybe a year or so, we were granted visa, which was a whole nother thing. Like, we were going back and forward to different states to do interviews and all of that to get visa. And eventually it happened. And it was so surreal. I don't even think I believed it until I was at the airport saying goodbye to my dad. Like, holy crap, I'm going to America.
Was it all of your siblings or just you, your mom, and your little sister?
No, it's just me, my mom, and my little sister. That was it was truthfully was supposed to be just us coming for surgery. And then when we came, the talks of like, see if you can stay, I started working on those papers as well. So, and then later on, my mom brought my older brother and my older sister to the US.
What was the surgery that you received when you came?
Oh my god. Well, I cannot remember. I think I would say skin grafting. So I basically got surgery on my left cheeks, right? Because it was really pronounced, so they had to like slit it. Like, if you look at closely, obviously you can't see. I'll let you touch it later. There's like a little slit they had to cut, I guess, to kind of flatten the keloid.
Mm.
And I also got one done by my ears. My right ears were joined with my head.
Oh, wow.
So that one had to be split. And they had to like take skin from like around my top private. So to put it in the back of my ears. So now I get like hair that grows in the back of my ear. I know. Weird.
Wow, that is so fascinating.
Yes. Um, yeah, so that's all that I did. But for my little they couldn't do like surgery for hair to help the hair follicles grow back on my head because my scars on my head was so much and it was deep that they thought if they do it, I'm definitely gonna get infection and that's gonna be a whole nother thing. But my little sister, because she only got burned on the left side of her head, so she still has like 90% of her hair, they were able to go under and like put some kind of balloon under her scalp to push hair follicle. But then she got infection and then they had to go back and like take it off because yeah. And yeah, I think that was the only surgery I've gotten. They did tell me like, hey, you have until 19 to still receive free surgery. So if you wanted to come back and do it, and my aunt and my mom didn't want to constantly push us to get surgery.
Mm.
They wanted us to have some time to make decision for ourselves. Because at this time we're underage, they were basically making those decisions. So when I did turn 18, I actually went for appointment. The hospital is in Ohio? So I went, had an appointment, I thought about it, and then I was just like, I'm kind of scared.
Mm.
Like, because I'm starting to get to a place where I'm kind of comfortable with how I look, and I don't want the chance to possibly get botched
To change again,
and
like,
then,
yeah.
and then have to restart this whole journey of self-love and accepting myself. I'm just like, I'll just stick with it. And every now and then I go back to the idea of like, what would my life look like if I don't have this permanent scar it's definitely there on my face. But it has definitely improved, like, in the past years. A lot of people would tell you, like, "Oh, Shalom," well, would ask me, "Oh, what did you get any surgery? Like, your scars just seem to be fading and fading." And I was just telling them, I was like, "Honestly, I just think it's time and age."
Mm.
You know, the older I'm getting, the more it's shrinking. But, yeah, I still have those thought of, like, what if? What if I just go talk to a doctor that can actually do something about it? Or what if I just live with it?
That makes sense, like, I'm sure so much medical trauma too,
Yeah.
like, around hospitals and pain and recovery. So there's, like, all of that emotional weight in that comes with every future medical decision.
Mhm.
And then as you said, like, you worked so hard to love and accept yourself, and then the idea that there would be this different version of you who you didn't know again.
Mhm.
And it's so funny because when I talk about the idea of getting my sight back and how I, like, that scares me, and that
Right.
confuses people
Right.
because similar to that, it's like, well, they'd be removing your scar, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
They'd be giving you your sight back, that's a good thing, but people don't understand when you've been through the pain and the grief
Yes.
of changing and losing a piece of yourself, and you've had to put the work in to love and accept this new version,
Mhm.
there is a whole grief that comes along with losing that person again.
Mhm.
And the idea of, like, I have to put in all that work again,
Starting over.
starting over with another new version of
Mhm.
me is like a heavy thought.
Yeah.
And it's scary. And when you've learned to just, like, be like, this is me, this is the life that I was meant to have for whatever reason, this is the universe who they wanted me to be,
Right.
the idea of changing that and trying to rediscover the next version of you
Yeah.
is like, I just don't want to do it.
At all.
So I totally relate and I, like, completely understand that exact feeling.
Yeah.
For those who can't see you, like myself, I know that you're unable to grow hair, so you have the most fabulous collection of wigs.
Always.
Can you explain what else the scar looks like or feels like?
Yeah, so my scars, I have a scar obviously on my entire head, right? But I would say like with my head is completely flat. So there's nothing that is like keloid or bumped and anything like that, but you can feel the texture. It's almost like how do I explain it? Like rubbery in a
Mm,
way. It's such a weird texture. It's very smooth though. And then on my forehead, you can kind of feel a little bit of like a rigidness on there. And then my scar on my left side of my cheeks, that one has a little. It's like it's kind of lifted, so there's a bit of like bump, you would say. And then the right side of my face completely doesn't have any like scars at all. And then I have some on my hand. I would say one thing about me, because as a Black woman, Black people do tend to keloid very easily, but I would say like we did not keloid that much. So kind of lucky in
very
that area.
lucky.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? To not
Mhm.
have crazy keloid, but yeah.
Are you able to grow, like, eyelashes and eyebrows?
Yes. So I do have a little bit of eyebrows. The hair grows, but it's so sparse. It's not completely there. So there will be like hair every there and here. And I just tend to shave it off because it's so annoying. I'm like, oh, I can't fully do my eyebrows how I like you have such beautiful eyebrows.
Thank you.
But I can't really do my eyebrows how I would like it with hair, so I just shave off the little hair that does grow, and also it doesn't grow like flat, it's like fully like standing,
Right,
so
that
it's
makes sense.
so annoying, so I just shave it off, but I do completely have my lashes. My lashes were not affected.
We love that for you.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
a makeup girl, we love that for you.
Okay, I love my lashes, I love my mascara, but yeah.
How and when did you discover makeup along your kind of journey of learning to accept yourself and embrace?
I loved makeup since I was a kid. Even before the whole incident happened, I would take my mom's lipstick, her eyeliner. Back in the days, they just draw a line on the eyeliner. I just saw a recent picture of my mom, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, that's really how you guys do it." Um, but yeah, I loved makeup since I was a kid. But getting burned, it really got me to like use makeup because I wanted to hide.
Mm.
So moving to the US, I was given some makeup at the hospital and stuff. The hospital also created my first wig for me. Um, So yeah, I kind of really got into it during that time because I was using it to hide myself, going to school and stuff. I didn't want it to be noticeable, even though there was no avoiding light. You could see it, and the makeup was terrible, obviously at that time. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into makeup, and then it just became its own thing. It was very empowering.
I was also always that little girl, like,
Hmm.
climbing in my mom's purse or makeup bag and,
You
like,
know how
pulling
that
stuff out.
feels,
Like, I was always a makeup fashion girly, and there was nothing about going blind that was gonna change that. I was like,
right?
"I'll find a new way.
Okay.
I'll find a new way,"
Because
but I'm still
Molly's
doing it.
face, y'all, Molly's face is always eating, and that's the thing, I'm
Okay,
so
not like you.
no,
I'm
no,
always,
no.
like, embarrassed in front of you. I'm like,
For
"Shalom."
okay, first of all, I don't know what your skincare is, but your skin is freaking amazing. It has
Thank
like,
you.
Molly, what, you're 30?
32.
Do y'all see this girl?
Stop.
You look like a baby.
Thank you so much. It is
Yes.
honestly so hard not being able to see myself in the mirror,
Yeah,
and, like, we live in Los Angeles and we work in entertainment, and our
yeah,
faces blown up on this big photos and on screens all the time. And it's like
yeah,
everybody has normalized in this city and in this industry, like Botox and filler
yeah.
and surgery. And I'm trying to avoid all of that
Do
for
you
many
feel like okay,
reasons.
so this is so interesting to me. Sorry to, like,
No, no,
send
no,
a
go.
question back to you. Do you feel like and also, I'm thinking about it, so I'm like, it kinda come it might come up very ignorant, but being that you can't see, do you kinda worry about aging as well?
So much.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I worry that I look different than I think I do. Like, it's
Hmm,
really weird not being able to really know what you look like. And
right.
everybody and their mother has a comment to say on the internet. And, it's like sometimes those comments are nice and they're like, oh my God, Molly does her makeup better than I do. And she's so pretty and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I don't know if that's true or not. Like, they could just be trying to gas me
It's
up.
true.
Thank you. And then,
100%.
but then I get the other comments that are like, Molly has no upper lip. She could really benefit from some filler. Or
Oh,
like, what's going on
please.
with her eyebrows? What kind of look is that? Like, people, behind a screen feel so
Yeah.
emboldened to like
Pick on
say whatever they want to
everything.
say.
Yeah.
And I feel like the moment I stopped getting carded for alcohol, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm old." Like, how old do I look? Like, I started panicking because I can't see fine lines, I can't see
Mhm,
wrinkles, I can't see acne scarring. Like, I truly have no idea how I'm aging. And then sometimes I like feel like I overthink it and
mhm,
get really stressed and scared because, like I said, like we work in an industry that like idealizes youth.
mhm.
And being in the beauty industry, being in the entertainment business, being in Los Angeles, it's like you're surrounded by 23-year-olds
Right.
who are like, just doing some baby Botox for
Literally.
maintenance. And you're like,
Literally.
girl,
You're
stop
20.
it.
Relax. Yeah.
Maintenance of what? I'm sorry, preventative Botox doesn't exist. Shut up. It
Yeah.
literally doesn't exist. That's not a thing. You're being scammed and you're spending $800 for it.
Mhm.
Ugh. But anyways, I digress.
That's so interesting. Because this whole time I was like, "Oh, like, if you don't see, yeah, you probably don't care." But I'm like, I can tell you do put effort into your look. Because like, look how chic you look, okay?
Thank you. This is
Uh,
not effortless. This did not
right,
come
it's
naturally.
okay, like, she makes sure, like, every single time I see Molly, you are always so put together, you always look so fabulous, and I was like, "I don't know if
Oh,
he's
please, look
helping
who's
you."
talking. Look who's talking. I'm telling you, I had to up my chicness for today's
Oh,
episode because you were
please,
coming.
please.
But truly, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes I think I'm more confident because I can't see myself, because I
Mm,
can't sit in front of the mirror and tear myself apart,
right.
because I can't sit and edit my Instagram reel and tear myself apart, but then and like put it in Facetune and tweak every little thing and then see this other version of myself that I could be.
Yeah.
But then the other side is like I overthink about it and
Mhm.
I like pick myself apart about small things that may be literally
Right.
non-existent. And I'm like, wait, maybe that comment is right. And maybe my eyebrows look terrible and nobody in my real life is willing to tell me because they don't want to make me feel bad. But like maybe that one commenter who said that thing, she's the real one. Like it's like a
They're never,
weird,
never, never,
they're never
never.
real.
Yeah,
Don't listen to the haters.
at
So
all.
I'm curious about the experience of being an immigrant
Mhm,
at 12 years old, coming to the US as a Black woman. What was all of that aspect like? Because it's like so multi-layered. You're
mhm,
coming to a new country with a totally different culture. You have burns.
mhm,
You're a Black woman, and I would assume potentially in like a predominantly white neighborhood, depending on where you landed. Like
mhm.
there's so many layers to that experience. what kind of culture shock was that? And how was it at school adjusting?
I mean, it was really crazy. I remember the first time I saw a white person, I was like, "Oh my gosh, white people." Um, but no, I actually went to school where it was predominantly Black
Good. I
and,
love that.
Hispanic. Um, and yeah, it was absolutely different, like, going to school in the US, the setup is different. And I remember when we started elementary school, and they had a whole assembly for us before we came to school. We didn't know this. I didn't know this, I think, until I went to middle school. That's when I found this out because one of my classmates told me. But they basically had a assembly for us to tell the kids, "Hey, there's going to be student coming in. They are burn survivors. Please be kind, be nice." And I don't think we ever got in that back in Nigeria. So when I came, started middle school, elementary school, the kids were so nice. Everybody wanted to be friends. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like, I love it here. It doesn't feel like what I went through, back home. They're not staring, they're talking to me. Everybody was being intentional. And then we head to middle school. Now we are in school with other elementary school kids from other schools, of course. That is when I started experiencing what life could be in America with
Mm.
kids. I was like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh. I didn't want to be here. I think that was when I first looked at myself in the mirror and was like, yep, I want to be gone. I can't do this. I started getting picked on so bad. I am afraid to go to school because around that time I was not really gluing my wig down. So kids are rude, they're rough, and I'm afraid that one day somebody's going to pull my wig off. So every single day was just a terrifying day of like heading to school, getting on the bus. So that's something I definitely had to like adjust. Um, I guess you could say it gets better. I'm trying to be positive, but
No, I mean,
um,
you don't have to be positive. It's about being real, Like,
yeah.
I also did not have the best experience growing up going to school.
Mhm.
My dad actually, his only time he got in trouble at school, got in a school fight, is his sister had cancer and she was wearing a
Mhm.
wig and a student pulled it off and he punched him.
Oh my gosh.
So, sadly, those things do happen to
Yes.
people. I'm hoping it never happened to you.
It never did, but, like, to kinda yeah, okay. So, it never did, but I think it was very close to happening in high school, and I just went berserk, and I was like, "Oh, if I act crazy, then you guys would leave me the fuck alone."
You gotta out crazy the crazy.
That is what I had to do. There was one day we were sitting in class, some boy was sitting behind me. And I remember there was a time that this video was trending where this girl's, I think it was a wig or a scarf was pulled off and they go, Yaga, right? And so he was doing that to
Mm,
people in class. And then he came to do it to me. Now, mind you, I wear wigs. The other girl, like, have hair.
right.
He was about to touch me and I went off. Mind you, I'm so quiet in the class. I mind my business. And that's the thing that I do because I was like, if I stay quiet, nobody's going to notice me. People are going to leave me alone. But no, apparently, no. And so I just went butt wild on him. And he was so shocked. Everybody was shocked in that class. And to that day, he never, ever, even to like look at me, we wouldn't even have eye contact. I say, okay, that's
It's
how I like to
truly
be.
a life hack. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody is acting crazy, out
You
crazy
have to
them. You
outdo the
have to
crazy.
out crazy. If you are like a woman walking down a street at night and there is a man acting weird towards you,
Mm-hmm.
don't shrink. Act bizarre. Like,
Crazy.
make him be like, she's
She's
effed up.
crazy.
Like,
Yes.
I want nothing to do with that.
Yes.
You gotta get weird.
Mhm.
I saw this video and it was this girl and she was talking about how she was being followed by a man
Mhm.
and he was like walking really weird and stuff. So she literally like jumped, turned around, crouched, and started like acting a fool and like being really like screaming like and he like ran. Like, she was like, I made him so
Right.
uncomfortable and so fearful that
Okay.
he wanted no longer anything to do with me.
And
And
that's
he
how
did
you
not
do
have
it.
good intent. And that, friends, is a master class in out crazying
Outdo
crazy.
the crazy.
They want nothing to do with you
Okay.
suddenly. I'm curious how it felt when your friend told you that about that school assembly because I had an experience when I was in grade 3 where I had this girl sit next to me in class, and I thought we were, like, best friends and that she was doing it because, like, she really liked me
Genuinely,
and genuinely
yeah.
wanted to help and support me,
Yeah.
and then I went to her house at the end of the school year, and I was like, "Oh, this is, like, a really cute stuffed animal. Where did you get it?" And she told me that our teacher had given it to her, and our teacher would give her gifts every week for helping me.
Oh my
And it was,
god.
like, the most devastating feeling that, like, "Oh, I'm a charity
Oh
case."
my
Like, that people have
god.
to be told to be nice and support me and, like, be rewarded for that
For
instead of
that.
genuinely wanting to. So, that struck me when you said that they had a school
Yeah.
assembly and you didn't know that and everybody was nice and then you moved to a new school and suddenly it's different. Like, how did that feel to realize that the kids were nice, maybe only in part because they were literally told to be nice to you?
Yeah. So, like, me and the guy, we did stay friends, right, for a little while. And I remember, I think I was just having a conversation with him. I was just like, wow, you have always been so nice. 'Cause I remember him being one of the people that came to me and was like, you want to be friends? And I was like telling him, I was like, oh, do you remember like in elementary school when you asked me to be friends? That was so sweet. And he was basically like, yeah, they had a whole assembly for us to be nice. To be nice to you guys. And I was like, oh. But then it started making sense. I was like, some of the people that were really nice to me in elementary school don't even talk to me. They don't associate with me at all. They kind of see me and just, go about their day. There's no hi, there's no bye, there's nothing. And I was like, oh, that makes sense now.
Mm,
So yeah, it was kind of heartbreaking.
yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, that's nice. And I was expecting it to also happen in middle school. I was like, are they going to have assembly? And middle school teachers don't care. Like, we can't control those kids. And I think that was one of the shocking thing because you asked like what was the cultural like difference. Seeing kids talk back to teachers. That is
Mm.
not something that ever happens like back home in Nigeria. A kid stands up to a teacher and talk back? Absolutely not. So that was a cultural like shock for me and kids not getting whipping because we get whooping at school. You come to school late, you get a whooping. You come to school without your nails or your hair done, you get a whooping. You come to school without the school fees, even though it's your parents' job, you get a whooping because why didn't you tell your parents, even though your parents are aware? They just didn't have the money to pay at the
Mhm.
time. So now it's your thing. But coming to the US, like, that's completely different. You don't talk back and you don't know I mean, I was going to public school, so, we're not even paying, but I don't know what the arrangement was. We have food at school that we get for free. So all of that was quite different for me. So it was the balance of like, what do I like and what do I not like about here and there?
How has your journey with makeup changed? Like
Hmm.
you found makeup around this time when you're in school in the US, you get your first wig. You start trying to experiment with makeup to essentially hide behind, to
Yeah.
cover yourself up and almost the way your father had instilled in you to hide, to cover. You're putting these wigs on to look like you have hair, you're putting makeup on to cover these scars. How did your journey with makeup evolve to where you are today, where it's about the artistry, it's about experimentation, it's about creativity and self expression, and not just about covering and hiding?
Yeah, I think it took a long time to get here, but I had to start taking risks and go out without it. Because I really wanted to get to a place where when I put on makeup, I'm just putting on makeup because I want to. I'm just putting on makeup for a special occasion and not because I have to. And one of that first step, they say, what is it called? Exposure therapy.
Exposure therapy, yep.
That is what I did, but I didn't even know that's what it was called at that time, right? So this was after high school. I decided I'm going to go out to 7-Eleven across the street from my house. That's something I can never, ever do before. I say, Shalom, you have to get to a place where you don't feel the need. Because it takes a long time to put on makeup. So if I want to just go to 7-Eleven to pick up some candy, now I got to sit here and put on makeup before I get there.
Glue your wig down.
Do you
Like
know
it's a
what I
whole
mean?
process.
A whole process. So I was like, you can do it. Just go out to 7-Eleven without your makeup. And that is what I did. And I remembered that day, Molly. It's like a physical weight has been like lifted off of me. I was like, oh my gosh. And to be quite honest, nobody gave a fuck. I went in there, got what I need, came out. Nobody beat me up for that. I didn't hear anybody talking crap about me. So this whole time, everything that I've been also hearing, like, yes, I mean, kids pick on you, but then what do I hold and what do I truly believe of myself, if not what I'm telling myself? And I'm like, I have full control of how I see myself and how I want to be presented to people. And now I can control that narrative. And so going out that day changed my entire life. It was a beginning of like Shalom Blac. Seriously.
I love that so much, that explanation of just this weight lifted, because that's the exact feeling that I felt when I stopped letting myself want to be cured.
Mm.
And when I let go of that idea and said, I can just live as a blind person
Wow.
and believe I'm whole and believe I'm enough, and let go of that idea that my life would be better if I was cured. And when I started that journey and made that choice for myself, doesn't mean it was easy, and I'm sure it wasn't
No.
for you either. It's not like you went out without a wig and without makeup one day and all of a sudden you're super confident and love yourself. It's the start. It's
It was
step
the start.
one is being willing to do it. And for me, that step one was being willing to say, let me explore a reality where I don't hate myself as a blind person and where I don't think that my life would be better if I could see. And when I made that mental choice, the weight that was lifted, being like, wow, I can actually just love myself.
And I can go farther and farther.
I can just accept myself.
Yeah.
I don't have to hate myself. That is the key. And like, I think everybody has something. We might have like a bigger, more significant thing to a lot of people, but like everybody has a thing, whether it's your height or your weight or your eye color or whatever it might be. We all have that thing that like we pick ourselves apart for.
Yeah.
And we wish the grass was greener on the other side and if we only lived that version of our lives. But the moment you stop fighting it and surrender to that as your reality, it is the biggest gift you can give yourself.
Literally. My question is, how did you get to the point for you to be like, I don't want to like go for cure. I don't want to keep going to treatment. Was it painful that you like, was it physically painful to like, because I don't know what the treatment.
Well, there
would
is
be.
none. There's no
Wow.
treatment. So,
But you were just hopeful that they would.
they're constantly like doing experimental medical trials.
Okay.
And so it's like you can be submitting yourself for the trials, but every single time you submit, more than likely you're going to get denied. So it's like this hope of, oh my God, this might be something. And then you get the denial and it's like this disappointment. And it's like that constant cycle.
Yeah.
And people constantly selling you the dream of like,
Right.
oh, if you like at one point my family was shipping in these incredibly expensive pills from Switzerland that were supposed to slow the progression and like all of these different things that like every single time it gives you like this hope. Or you hear about somebody else in the community who flew to Idaho to do this, to go to see this doctor who's claiming this thing. I even see it today, like these doctors on TikTok who are like shilling these things for people with my disease and saying like, if you just do my protocol, it'll slow your progression or you'll get and
There's
it's
always
like,
going to be predators.
there's always going to be these things, right? And it was like living on a hamster wheel of wanting that and the disappointment and the hope and the disappointment and the hope and the disappointment.
Yeah.
I was like, how long can I do that for?
Yeah.
And like the emotional pain of that and the emotional weight of like hating my reality because I'm holding space for a version of my life that may never exist.
Right.
I didn't want to live like that in that like constant cycle. And so I just like, somebody else planted this seed in me that there was a version of me who just accepted blindness as a reality and who did not need to hold brain space for the idea of being cured. And I thought she was insane. Like, I was literally like, of course I need to be cured. What are you talking about? Because that's what I had been fed my whole life.
Right.
From the medical world, from the charity world. That's what I had been told. And so, like, the idea that there was a version where I didn't need that, like, was, like, so beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
And it was so difficult for me to, like, let myself think that as possible And it took so long to get to the place where it's not just an idea somebody else is handing me, but it's a belief that I actually hold. Like that I deeply feel this.
Right.
And I'm sure it was the same for you. Like going out without a wig and without your scars shown, it was like a moment and then you're like, but I'm covering up next time.
Right.
And it takes time before, like I
To fully let
remember
go.
when we went to the first red carpet together and you didn't have your wig on.
Yes.
And I remember that moment
was
for
the
you.
Streamy.
The Streamy Awards.
Yes.
I remember that night here in the Beverly Hills Hilton. And you had told me, you were like, I think I'm going to try to go without my wig on. And like, this is my first time going to any event without it on, like major industry thing.
Yeah.
And I was just so excited for you when you showed up and you took that red carpet and you didn't have your wig on. What did moments like that feel like? Like, how did you take those baby steps?
It was scary. I think they are always very scary. But then I was like, what I'm going to feel. I think I also was chasing that feeling that I had the first time when I went out without my my makeup, right? I was like, I know that felt great. That put me in a whole different position of mindset. And so if I do this, this is also going to put me in another, like a higher position of mindset.
Like
It's
you're
almost
leveling up.
leveling up. That is exactly what I was doing. So it was scary. And now I'm going to be with my peers, okay? This is scary, but F it, we're going to do it. So I made sure I looked good. My dress was like...
Oh, your dress was iconic. It was so fabulous.
My dress was great. I had I love my statement earrings. I had like a little headband thing that was going on. But stepping outside, like actually stepping my foot outside, I was like, I can actually do this. This is not as hard as I have held it to be. And did that red carpet like beautifully. I say, also, like, I truly believe in faking it till you make it. You know, whatever it is that was going on inside, I was not showing it outside. And because I wasn't showing it outside, from everybody else looking, they were like, oh, wow, this is a confident girl. I think I probably got the most compliment that day.
I have to say, like, a bald woman with big earrings is the vibe.
And big gown.
Oh, it's so... The skirt on that dress
yes.
was so stunning. But I'm so on the same page with the fake it till you make it thing. Like, you need to tell yourself things that you think are bullshit. Like, when I started...
Nobody knows.
Just do... Like, when I was 16 years old and I heard about affirmations for the first time, I hated myself. Like, I was still, like, not in a good place. I told myself every damn day, and I still do it to this day, I am strong, I am beautiful, I am confident, I am smart, I deserve to be happy, I deserve to be healthy, I deserve to be loved, I deserve success.
Yeah.
And I did not believe it. And I thought those things sounded ridiculous, but I said it anyways.
Right.
Because what we tell ourselves...
It grows.
It grows.
And it's nurturing.
When we feed I do it to this day. Like, the other day, I found myself in this, like, brain loop where I was like, I'm so stressed, I'm so stressed, I'm so stressed. And then I was like, girl, if you're telling yourself you're stressed, you're going to be stressed. Stop this, like, mental loop of saying that and just be like, everything's great. Everything is fine. I am safe. I'm going to be okay.
For my own good. Yeah.
You just have to, like, tell yourself the things you don't believe. Hear the negative thoughts. Stop that right now. Remove it. Feed your brain all the good, kind, loving, sweet words. And eventually you will embody that. And it's like truly that fake it till you make it. You don't need to feel confident to fake confident. And guess what? One day that fake confidence will become real confidence.
Say, clock it. Yes.
Your makeup journey, we all went through the, like, rough phase. I'll take it back. I feel like preteen girls now, they don't go through the rough phase because they have people like you to watch who teach them how to not go through the rough phase. We did not have that.
We did not.
But I feel like we're from a very similar generation. And so I feel like we probably grew up, like, watching the same beauty gurus, the same makeup tutorials, like, and reviews and Sephora hauls and, like, getting into makeup in the same space. But makeup has come so far, not just in application, but in, like, product range and options. For covering scars, what's your trick? Like, give us the routine. What is the starter pack for women who are burn survivors and they want to learn how to do their makeup in a way that makes them feel confident?
One thing I told myself that I wasn't going to only use makeup that was made for people with scars because I wanted to enjoy makeup. And I didn't want to put myself in a box where it feels like I can only use this kind of makeup. You know what I mean? I wanted to use everything that everybody was using. I wanted to use the hottest new thing. So I just use anything that was out there. But I think it just has to do with the technique on how you apply it. So I literally just did a video using tinted foundation. I don't normally go for tinted foundation because I feel like they don't give me a nice coverage. But the way that I did it, I still was able to get a decent coverage that cover my scar. If I really wanted to cover my scar, then I would use a certain makeup. But like I said, it just has to do with technique, right? So instead of like just pulling your brush every which way. You just want to stipple it on the areas that you want to cover. Just stipple, 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 stipple until it's fully covered. And blend it. And then when it comes to powder, you want to press it in. Again, do not drag. Dragging is just going to pull away the coverage that you just put on your face. So everything just needs to be a pressing motion. That way, like, at least that's how I'm able to get my flawless base and coverage and stuff. You can still see like the demarcation of my scar because it's not making the scar disappear, but it's making everything even. So yeah.
And I feel like that probably exact same technique would work perfect for like acne scarring or
Literally.
like any kind of discoloration and
Yes.
pigmentation issues.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Your family had such concerns for you and your sister with dating.
Yeah.
You are now a married woman with a baby boy.
Yes, I am.
How was dating for you? Because, girl, you and I went through the dating in LA thing together. I remember every time we'd hang out, we'd be like, how's your swiping going? How's your dating life? Like, we were both going through it trying to find a man in this city, and now we both found our man. Tell me about dating
Great man at that.
We have great men.
Okay.
So tell me about dating with a facial difference.
Yeah, honestly, it was difficult. It was very hard because it was hard for me to put myself out there, especially like online dating. That's why I kind of prefer meeting somebody in person. Because I was like, if they see me in person, they will already see my scar. So they will have that choice of like, I want to talk to her regardless of what I just saw. Versus with online dating, of course, I kind of edit my pictures. And of course, I know my good angles that doesn't really show my scar. So there was always this nerve-wracking feeling that I would get, like if I match with somebody and who wants to meet, I'm like, oh gosh, now I have to tell them that I have a scar, right? So one of the things that I would do, I would just put my social media, but then I had a following and I'm like, okay, but if this person like me, how do I know that they like me for me and it's not for the following and stuff? It was just so confusing. So every now and then I would take it off and then put it, or when I do match with a person, I feel like we're having a great conversation. I'd be like, well, here's my Instagram, like, go look at it. So that they can see like, oh, this girl, she has a scar. Do I want to talk to her? And there's been moments where I thought I was really vibing with someone. He was a doctor. I was really vibing with him. It seems like everything was going well. So I was finding like, okay, like, oh, check out like my videos. You know what I mean? And again, it's not in the sense of like, oh, I want you to see my phone. I just want you to see me because I was putting that on my social media.
It was like a soft way to be like, here's...
Do you know what I mean? And so maybe I was also feeling some type of way about rejection. Like, at least if they are going to reject me, they could just walk away without saying anything. So this connection that I have with this person, I thought it was like going really good. I was waiting for him to go and come back and just be like, oh, I don't care. Never heard from him again. And that broke me. Of course, I deleted the app. You know how you go with dating online, you delete and you go.
It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle online dating.
It broke my heart. I was just like, ugh. But then I also got to a place where I didn't care. I was getting dates now, like I would get dates, but then when you come to realize that people are also just using you for your body, it's almost like they know that, okay, this person is insecure, then I could probably just get what I need from them. Because it would be easy. And I felt like it was kind of like that for a little while. And then I got to a place that's like, you got to do better. You cannot just be accepting any of this. And I stopped dating. I also became abstinent for like 2 years. And I felt like doing that really set me to be like, oh yeah, you know who you are and you don't have to take bullshit, because there's not a need for a man. Like, okay, if somebody comes, cool. But then also being a Black woman and a dark-skinned Black woman in California, specifically LA, that was a whole nother thing, you know? Because I'm open to every, like, race and stuff. But babe, I was not getting no Black man. I was only, like, literally the only people that would, like, ever, like, connect with me or actually want to go out, go on a date and stuff were always white men.
Why do you think that is?
Because I'm dark-skinned Black woman. That's what it is. There's a lot of colorism in California.
Within the Black community.
Within the Black community.
Wow.
So it was so hard. I'm just like, what is... But I'm like, when I go to the East Coast, that's when, like, Black men are interested in me. When I'm
It's
here,
so fascinating, the cultural difference, like just in different regions of the same country, how the community differs so much.
Yeah, it's like ambiguous Black women here, mixed race that the Black men liked. And I remember the one first Black guy that I matched with, this was on Raya. You know, you're thinking like, okay, Raya's a little bit elevated.
Oof, Raya was a nightmare. I hated Raya.
Yeah, I got off. I was just like, okay, I'm just paying money for nothing. But yeah, I finally got like a date with a Black man, and we went on a date. It was great. He was also a Nigerian, doing well for himself, but then he would take forever to respond, and I felt like I was almost like doing the chasing, and I was like, I don't want to do that either. You know, and I got to the point I was like, I'm just not responding to this person. I'm going to take a break from dating. Naturally, at this time, I did take a break from dating. And then finally, when I decided, you know what, I'm just going to date around and just have fun and do whatever I want, then I met my partner. And that was it.
I feel like I got to the exact same place of like, I don't need a man.
Yeah.
I don't need a man for anything.
Yeah.
I am so good on my own. I am so content and whole on my own. There is no gap in my life a man can fill. Enter my now fiance. Like, it truly is so real.
When you least expect it, that is when it comes to you.
It's such a cliche, and I hate that I exemplify it, because when people would tell me that, it was the most irritating thing.
Literally.
Like, I'd be like, well, how am I supposed to find somebody if I'm not looking for it? And then it's just like, it just is true, but nobody can force you to get to a place of surrendering and accepting and like just being at peace.
Yeah.
You have to truly, deeply believe and feel that. That's not a fake it till you make it. You can't just tell yourself I'm good on my own. You have to deeply believe and feel that you are good and whole on your own. And
it just comes to you. Because then I feel like you also know how to choose them when you are good on your own, that you're not taking BS anymore. You can pinpoint when BS is coming at you and you're just like, yeah, no, that's not it. Versus when the real thing comes, there's this comfort and peace that you feel with that person. And that's exactly how I felt when I met my person.
Tell me about showing him your scars for the first time. I remember seeing a video on your TikTok showing your... I think you were already engaged at that time, potentially. You'd been together for a while. And you showed him yourself without a wig on for the first time.
Yeah.
Tell me what that felt like. What was it like making the decision to show your whole self, and how did it feel?
Oh my gosh, scary. So when I met Charlie, it was in person. So I think that kind of helped, because I'm like, he already seen me, what I look like in person. So going on the next day with him was a breeze. I was just like, okay, whatever. But I think we've been together for a while. And I finally was like, okay, well, this person is always here. We're always hanging out. We're doing stuff. But I feel like even though... And he never asked me. He never... Because obviously he's seen me without my makeup and everything like that. But he never like asked like, oh, like, how did you get your scar and stuff? Like, you know, none of that. And so... Even though he's seen my scar with that makeup, he hasn't seen me without my wig. I always make sure I have my wig. Okay, glued down. We be in bed. I make sure that wig is secure.
So you like sleep at night wearing the wig?
Absolutely. But I don't like to, but I do it when he's around.
Yeah, I could imagine that would be quite uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then literally one day I was just like, just go show him. Just go, because I'm itching for him to just ask me something, like just ask. And he's not asking, so I was just like, just go show him. So I finally did. And you're just like, you look beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it was such a cute video.
Yeah.
His response was like, green flag.
Yeah. He's like, you look beautiful. He kissed my head every day. He rubs my bald head. I'm so comfortable. I walk around. Like, my little sister's just like, I remember the first time she saw me just like walking around with him being in the house without my wig. She was like, "Oh." And that's how it's been now.
And that's how it should be
Yeah.
with your person. Like, your person should wholly love and accept every version of you and
Literally.
every part of you.
Yes.
And that is, I think, like what makes you feel safe as a woman who has a disability or a facial difference or anything. Like, when you know that your partner wholly accepts you, even the parts of you that took you so long to accept.
Right.
It is just like such a gift, and to feel that like safe
Yeah.
in that person's presence is something I'm so grateful we've both found,
Literally.
because it can be really hard to find that.
Because
Really hard.
people are like, as much as people want to be like, oh, we don't care about the looks, they do.
Mm-hmm.
They do. So to find that person that doesn't, and it's just like, it's you that I care about.
And
And
hear
you're
stories.
beautiful in my eyes. Like,
Yeah.
beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and they see that beauty.
Yeah. I hear stories of women struggling with, they sleep every night with their makeup on next to their man, or they can't take their extensions out in front of him, or things like that, or even, all the lights have to be out when they have sex. Like, they
Yeah.
can't just be who they are in front of their partner. And I am like the first to I'll like be putting my, like, stripping down at the end of the day, putting my
Right.
clothes in the laundry machine. I'm doing like a goofy dance naked in the hall to my
Yeah.
partner. He's like, you're so stupid. Like, I am like the first to just be like, I truly think you need to find a person who you can be so weird with.
So yourself.
I want somebody who matches my weird, who like I get to be silly and goofy,
And they just join in.
and they join in instead of being like, what are you doing? And
Right.
I've had men like that who are like, stop. Like, that's
Can
not.
you imagine someone just like bringing you down constantly, like while you're trying to just be you?
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Please.
Who wants that?
No.
And I feel like it's just like, it's just so awesome when you get to the place where you feel so good and whole in yourself, and then you find a person who sees that, and they feel that for you too. It's like,
yeah,
there's nothing better.
I love that. I love that you found love and love found you. Like, you two.
We're so lucky, Shalom.
No, seriously, we are. And we took our time. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes, like, when you don't rush, you really do get to meet that person. And when that person comes around.
What are the comments like on your social media?
Like,
what
right.
just
like
generally, like, what? Because I get the good, the bad, and the ugly in the comments. But I feel like overwhelmingly it is like 99% good.
Yeah.
What are like the out-of-pocket things that you see on your comment section?
Well, there's so many. I feel like with every changes, because our life just evolves, right? With every changes is either people are not ready to make those changes with you, then they would say something crazy. But one of the one that has stuck with me for so long, or that I kind of bring up, was when somebody, I think I was either dancing or I posted something, really feeling myself. And the person basically said, just because we told her she's beautiful, now she's really starting to believe it. Yes. And that moment was when I was like, I need to take my power back. I don't need validation from comments.
Yes.
Because this whole time, and I'm not saying it's everyone, this whole time I thought people genuinely were following me because they connected with me. And to hear that, even though it was from one person, I was wondering, like, how many people thought that? So now you're basically telling me you can take that back, that confidence back. Absolutely not. I need to own it.
Yes.
And that's what I do now. I own my confidence. That whatever you say, I don't need it from you. The good, the bad, the ugly. I don't need your comment.
I always tell people who are entering this industry, if you cannot self-validate, you're not ready. Because You cannot be seeking external validation
At all.
in this industry.
At all.
You need to be so sure in yourself and be able to validate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because sure, it's great when all the kind comments are pouring in validating you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're letting them be your validation, the moment those negative comments flood in, that's going to also validate all the negative you've told yourself. And that is a dangerous, slippery slope for your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Seek validation within.
Literally.
How did you get to that place from being somebody who did want to end your own life to being somebody who's like, you can't take my confidence. You can leave all the negative comments on my videos you want, but I am who I am. Going from needing to wear a wig to hide yourself to laying in bed next to your man, wig-free, makeup-free. Did you go to therapy? Did you read self-help book? Like what was that journey like? How did you rebuild? Or was it just you? Did you just tap into that resilience?
I did not have therapy, not once. And I'm like, I don't know how the hell I function because I need to go.
That's a miracle, girl. Now that is a miracle.
I need to go to therapy. Maybe there will be a lot more that I can even improve on myself. But no, it's been all self-work. And it's been, like I said, like my sister, I want to be a great example for her. And there's so much to life that is beautiful that I want to be here to experience. And now being a mom, I want to be here and experience every single thing with my child, every single thing with my partner. There's just so much to life. And I feel like, yeah, it took a process to get there, but it was definitely a me thing. I did a lot of self-work.
Honestly, very impressive. I've done a lot of therapy to get here. You've done the work yourself. That's incredible.
I need therapy. We all need therapy,
I can't recommend it enough. Truly can't recommend therapy enough.
I'm so scared, Molly. There's this fear that I was like, wow, I think there are some things that I haven't fully even myself, no. And I'm kind of scared, like, if I go to therapy, like, they are really going to dig in and I'm going to discover this thing that has even been a trauma that I didn't know of.
Right, that thing that's buried.
Yeah.
That you've been, content to keep in a drawer and closed.
Yeah.
If you open that drawer, what monsters will emerge? I understand.
Yeah.
But being given the tools to fight those monsters for yourself is so powerful.
Yeah.
So I can't recommend therapy enough, but I also do understand that fear and that hesitation. You've put so much work in for yourself. You've gone to such a good place that it's scary to think of what demons will you find that you have to still fight.
And I'm trying to convince myself, I did a great job. I don't need to.
I mean, you did do a great job.
Yeah.
I can see that. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean that therapy isn't a great tool if there's a time in your life when the monsters start creeping out on their own.
That's why I'm like, I do need to go. I just need to do it.
How's your sister doing?
She's doing great. I love when people ask about her, but no, she's doing great. She's in school. Honestly, just so blessed to have her, but she's doing amazing. She's still figuring herself out. And I love, my sister is so passionate about things, especially people with, how do you say? So she has a friend that is pretty much deaf. And my sister is so passionate about learning sign language because her friend did not get that in the household that she grew up in. Her parents did not really do much for her. And so when my sister talks to me about that, she's just like, yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. So now she's in school, but one of her courses that she's taking is sign language. And I just love the passion that she has for other people, the care that she has, the concentration that she has. Consideration. That's such a hard word.
You've got it.
Consideration that she has for others, So, yeah.
I don't know if you feel this, but it seems like it certainly is that way for your sister. For me, I feel like because I went through so much of my life feeling misunderstood
Mm-hmm.
and like the average person didn't even care to try, I
Right.
was like, I never want to make other people feel that. Like, I never want to be the reason somebody feels misunderstood.
Right.
And so I took it upon myself to like watch trans creators, watch people talk about their addiction stories, watch
Right.
documentaries on the experience of immigrants, like trying to
Educate yourself.
educate myself on lived experience that I can never understand, which is why I'm doing this podcast, which is why I'm having these conversations, because it frustrates me so much when people still, it feels like, willfully misunderstand me.
Right.
When I'm like, I'm handing it to you on a silver platter to learn.
Right.
And the fact that you are still willfully misunderstanding is so frustrating. And like, how can we combat that? And I feel like in a way that's what your sister's doing, right?
Yeah.
Like she knows how it feels to feel misunderstood. And so seeing this friend be misunderstood even within her own home, which unfortunately is all too common a story.
Yeah. Not getting the support.
Not getting the support, like she's making sure to rewrite that for her friend.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And I love that.
How is being a mom?
Being a mom, it's been great. I love being a mom. And that's the funny thing, because I didn't know that I would love it. You know, like I mean, I guess you could say I've been a mom. Like I said, like my little sister was kind of like my kid when we were back in Nigeria, even though we're not that much apart. But the responsibility, like I used to take her to get her hair done and make sure I pick out the beads and all of that, get her dressed. So I love that. But yeah, like becoming a mom, I just feel like it just changed me. Like this, it's like a different kind of love that you never thought you can have for a human being. And this sense of peace that you also lose. And I say that because I care so much about his well-being that I think you kind of have that fear of like, oh my God, something can go wrong. What if this happened, So now you really don't have the peace that you used to have when you used to just only care for yourself. Now you have this kid that you have to care for, but he's like the sweetest thing ever. Like I wake up every morning looking forward to seeing his face. So
I was so happy when you announced that you were pregnant. I was so happy. Has Garden ever asked about your scars or why you're bald?
Garden is 2. So he hasn't asked me. But the funny thing though, when he sees a Black woman that is bald, he just says, "Mommy."
Oh, stop. That's so cute.
He's like, "Oh, a baldy, mommy." I'm like, "That's not
Black
me."
bald, mom.
Right. That is mom. And then like he does that with my sister too, because my sister wears a lot of like big curly hair. He just saw a picture of this lady. His dad was driving him from school, and it was at a hair salon, this big picture. And he was like, "Auntie."
So
I
cute.
was like, oh my gosh. But no, like I look forward to like telling him all about my story and, the journey of getting here. Now being that, my mom and my aunt, they're not here with us. So it is really up to me and my sisters to share all of that history with him. Yeah.
I always think that the kids of disabled parents or of people who have been through like a significant life trauma, those kids are going to be raised with so much compassion and empathy. Like he will never look at people with facial differences or limb differences and think anything weird about them. Like to him, that will be normal. He will see those people and he will understand their strength, their beauty. He won't like stare and point. And I love that all of his friends are going to be like that. Like they're going to come around your home from the time they're little and they're going to see you and it'll be normalized to them. And I think those small changes have such ripple effects that really excite me.
Yeah. I love that. I've always thought about that because I've seen kids, with like you said, like disabled parents. And I'm like, wow, just the way that they float, being that this was your normal since you were a baby, it's nothing to you.
It's nothing.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like with my husband, I feel like just because I've been with him for so long, I can't hear his accent anymore. So it's like, it's so shocking when people hear him and they're like, oh, you're British. Yeah. Or they start pretending to do the British accent. And to me, it's like, oh, I don't hear it. So it's the same way with my child. Like,
thank you. I don't hear my mom's Irish accent. I never have.
Right.
And people think I'm crazy. Like, they're like, yeah, she has an Irish accent. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right. Because it's so
just my mom.
It's so tuned tune out, you know? So I really look forward to like my kid. The way that he looks at me, I'm just like, wow, you really don't care that I have the scars. It's never like, like kind of when kids are curious, like, oh, what is this on your face? It's just kind of like, that's mommy.
Yeah, you're just his amazing mama. Like, that's
Yeah.
how he knows you.
And I love that.
We've both done a lot of work in like beauty fashion spaces, which we know are like some of the most exclusionary spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the most ugly spaces. They might be externally beautiful, but internally, they are some of the most ugly industries there is.
Yes.
Some of the most judgmental and exclusionary. And I've heard some just absurd out-of-pocket comments trying to work in that space. But you have managed to be very successful and work with huge top brands in the industry. What did it feel like when you got that first beauty brand deal and you did your first major beauty campaign?
Oh my gosh. I think one of my thought was like, because for so long, when let's say going into CVS, right, seeing a magazine, and I remember looking at those 17 magazine and going like, I would never be in something like this because I don't have flawless skin, because I have scars, and then I end up in it, and I was just like, wow, because I didn't let go. It was shocking. I was like, maybe the world is revolving. People are being more accepting. But I think they are because we came in being bold and saying we're not going to hide anymore. I think part of the reason why you don't see is like, yes, obviously it's kind of exclusive, but also they were not people being brave. And when we came in, we were being fucking brave. And they didn't have a choice but to notice us and to put us. And because also we bought the audience that are like, I feel this way and I also love makeup, why would you not like want to make sure that people like that are represented? But yeah, my first like big campaign was, I think it was with L'Oreal. And I was shooting that campaign in New York, coming to New York for the first time. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my life. What the heck? I'm doing a foundation campaign that was going to be on TV. Fortunately, my part didn't make it to TV. It's a whole nother thing. I still got paid. But yeah, my part did not make it to TV because makeup artists, that's what I'm thinking because the way that my makeup looked. I always say I wanted to do my makeup because I know how to do my own makeup on my skin tone, Like even though this was a top makeup artist that does the biggest name, they don't work with people with scars. So they don't know how to like do the makeup. My makeup looked terrible, I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh my gosh, L'Oreal. I still love you guys. But yeah, it looked so bad that I just was not happy. And so when the campaign came out, I wasn't in it. So one of my theory was, yeah, they also saw that it was bad. There's no way you're trying to sell a foundation and the way that they did it just was not working out for me. But seeing that a brand like that wanted me, I was just like, there's so much more to me.
So much more possibilities.
So much more possibility to go from there to now.
We both grew up loving beauty and fashion and just not seeing ourselves represented. And it is so hard when you don't see you to believe it's possible. And I think that's what's so incredible about what we've been able to do and so rewarding.
Yeah.
Is we've spent a decade putting ourselves out there when there was no opportunity being given.
At all.
Believing we deserved space. We made that frickin' space. And now there are other women who do believe it's possible because they do get to see it. And like that makes my soul so happy. And it has not been easy because anytime somebody's blazing a new trail, you have to face a lot of flack and you have to face a lot of no's and a lot of the hardship and pain. But knowing that other burn survivors, that other young blind people will grow up with opportunity that we didn't have
Mhm.
because of us
Because
is like just the that's why.
it's amazing.
That's why. Like all those years of asking why us, like why were we the ones who had to go through this?
Mhm.
I look at that, I'm like, that's why I
That's
went through
why.
this.
That's why. I think one of my first comments that I got that was so touching was when this young woman messaged me and was like, "Hey, I just saw your post and I just want to let you know you have inspired me so much. I have scars on my leg and I wouldn't wear a skirt ever. But because of you, I'm going to wear a skirt now." And I remember that being so touching and made me so emotional. I was like, wow. So my story, even though it was painful, it's going to help somebody feel confident. And I know what it means to feel confident and to have that self-love, like the freedom. I was like, this is what I want to do.
One of the comments that I get a lot is, you know, variations on I went blind 10, 20 years ago and I haven't worn makeup since.
Mhm.
And you've inspired me to try again.
Wow.
And like, that's just such an awesome feeling.
It's powerful.
And we might not have had those people to look to.
Right.
And to know that we've been able to become what we didn't have for others who need it
Hmm.
is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
It really is.
I love it. I love it for us. I can always look back and just be like, if there's anything that I have put into this world, is to make other people feel great about themselves, is to make other people come out of their shell
Mm.
and to live life. There's so much to life.
I'm
And
so proud of you, Shalom.
thank you.
Genuinely, like,
So am I.
every
you.
time I sit down on this podcast and have these conversations, my heart and soul is just so full.
And
It's-
you're so good at this, girl.
I mean, I'm literally just sitting down and having a conversation with
But it's so good. It
interesting
just
people.
flows. Like, and it doesn't feel like I'm sitting and somebody's just interviewing me. Like we're having a discussion, you know? And I don't know about you and other people, but us, it's just like going back and forward of like our struggles and our story and where we've been and where we're going. You are so good at this, girl.
I'm so glad you feel that way because I was always so intimidated by the idea of doing a podcast because most podcast hosts, like, they sit there with cue card notes and they
Mhm.
pre-plan their questions or they have like,
And you do your
and
studies.
I don't have any like cue cards. I don't have any prepared questions. I just sit down
It's
with people I
that
think
you
are
genuinely,
interesting
yeah.
and I genuinely want to learn and I genuinely want to connect. And I do want this to feel like a mutual conversation
And-
more than an interview.
And you have good memory.
I do have good memory. I do
My
have that,
memory
thankfully, on my
sucks.
side. Well, when you're blind, you kind of have to remember everything because you
Everything.
can't see it. You know, like I gotta remember it, put it on lock because my boyfriend and I, or my fiance and I still get used to it. We always joke. I'm like, he's the sight, I'm the memory and the sense of direction. That's how we
love
divide
that.
and conquer in this relationship. But I appreciate you saying that because
Of course.
both of us have been in this industry for so long. We have been interviewed many a time.
Mhm.
And so often it feels like exploratory.
Mhm.
It feels like a person from a place of privilege. It's like, tell me all your trauma. And I don't want it to be like that. I want this to be like, as two people who have been through something life-changing, like, let's connect and let's discuss and what can we learn and share. And I really feel like there needs to be more spaces for conversations like this. So thank you for being willing to come on here and to have this conversation.
Of course.
Now is the time where I'm going to ask the awkward question. Everybody gets an awkward question, something
Okay.
that people might want to know, but are too afraid to ask.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's where we really get somewhere.
Oh gosh, what could it be? I'm like, I just told you my whole life story. What could it be?
You are in an interracial relationship
Yes, I am.
and you have scars.
Mhm.
How do you feel like those two things play a role in how people perceive your relationship and how you as a couple are treated?
I don't think I've ever really thought about that. I feel like we live in a different world where I feel like people are kind of used to seeing that interracial. And I don't like my marital relationship with my partner. I don't want to make our interracial dating be the focal point. I just happen to fall in love with a man that is white. So to me, I don't think maybe some people do have a perception. And I think the weird perception that I think I notice is people assuming that if he's white, he's right. Do you know what that means?
No.
So basically, right, a lot of people would think I think some people think that my husband is so rich because he's white and he's taking care of me. Or I remember when we first started dating, they was like, oh yeah, she scored big because I showed like his family home in the UK. And it's like, yeah, he came from a rich family. This is like a war pad. That was like my first time hearing about that. It's like a website where people write stories about romance.
Wattpad. Yes, yes,
I was
yes.
like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's my first time hearing that. So there's this perception that people had that I was just trying to get citizenship. And I'm like, first of all, I'm a citizen of the US. He's not. But because he's white, people assume that I have to be the one leeching on this white man, which is insane to me. And yeah, or you have the other side of things where they're like, oh, he's white, he's gonna kill you. It's extreme.
Racism be crazy.
It's kind of extreme. And then you have the people, some comments that would be like, oh, he's like destroying his white lineage or whatever.
His white lineage?
Yeah.
Because now he has a biracial child?
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, no, it's kind of insane, the things that people say. And I guess you could say those are the perception, but I don't think I go based on that. Like I said, I fell in love with a man that was white. Yeah. But yeah.
It makes me really happy to hear that you don't think about it, because it means that hopefully you don't have to think about it because it's not being made an issue.
Yeah.
And
I feel like
that makes me really happy.
There's so much things that you can think about when you are in a relationship with someone that his skin tone is just not it. Obviously, like being a Black woman, I do have to be wary of like, what type of white man are you? I would say, I was going to do a video talking about if you decide to date outside of your race, please don't date somebody that has a particular type on dating particular women. Like if
like
you
a fetish.
you know what I mean? Because it can be a fetish. Like if you are telling me you're a white man that only dates Black women,
That's weird.
that's
Red
weird.
flag.
You only date Asian women, that's weird. And that's one of my questions
Because why are you only dating? Right.
It's weird.
It's the same with like disability fetish.
Right?
It's like,
that's the thing, huh?
if you're seeking out disability, that's weird. If you love somebody who happens to be disabled, that's one thing. If you're seeking it out, why? What is the root of that? Because oftentimes the root ain't nice.
Right. It's
rooted
never
in control
nice.
or power or a weird dynamic or kink sexually or whatever that's like not uplifting to the minority.
Yeah.
It is about being a power over them. And I hate that.
Yeah. So that is like a thing that I'm like, I would have never dated. I dated one Hispanic guy that was saying the N-word. And I had to be like, yeah, no, like, it's not okay for you to say that. He was like, well, all my friends at the studio did let me say it. I say, did let you say it. I'm not. It's not okay. And he didn't see anything wrong with that. He was like, and then he says, this is the thing. He says, I only say it when I'm angry. And I was like, that's the point. You say it when you are angry.
Yeah.
And who are the majority of the people that you are with? Black people. And now you're using the word on them. Yeah, no. This cannot work.
I always feel so uncomfortable when people say the R word in front of me. And it's like always weird because
people still use that just like randomly.
It's becoming popular again. And people will like literally say it in front of me. And I feel so uncomfortable and I feel so awkward and I struggle so much to like assert myself in that moment and be like, that's really not appropriate. Like that.
And there's no way you're going to tell me you don't know that that is not appropriate.
Right?
Because I knew this like, what, in middle school, high school? And that has been out of my vocabulary for God knows when. Like, it's
Exactly.
not something that rolls out. When things just roll out of your tongue like that, it's just
You're
I'm
saying
like,
it too much. Like, never does it ever enter my mind to say the N word, the R word. Like, never does it even become an inkling of a thought.
right.
So the fact that there's people out here that are just letting it flow right out of their mouth in front of somebody from these
Mhm.
communities who was
Mhm.
impacted by the harm of that word, it's like so wild, and I get so uncomfortable, and I'm so bad at, like, sometimes people will be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I just said that." And I'm like, "Oh, it's okay." Like, I struggle. So
Yeah.
I'm like, how did you have the courage to say that? Because I really
Yeah.
struggle with saying it. And to me, it's like,
But like,
it is
what
one
context are
thing.
you even using it to? Like, what context like allows you to bring that word in? Because I feel like there's so many words that you can use. And you
There's
decide to
so
use
many
that.
alternatives to either of those words. And it is one thing if the minority who's been attacked by that word chooses personally to reclaim it
Mm,
as a powerful word for them.
right.
That's a choice that each individual from that minority community has and can make for themselves.
Right.
But nobody, if you say, like, okay, your Black friends might be okay with that.
Right.
I, your Black partner, am not okay with that, and you need to respect that. And them to be like, no, because these other people said it was okay.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they don't speak for the whole community.
Exactly.
And it's just like crazy to me that people say it. And I feel so uncomfortable. How did you find the confidence to like stand in that and not feel like there's always these, as a minority, there's always this feeling of like, I'm a burden or I'm difficult or I don't want people, I don't want people to feel like they have to change themselves to be around me, even though you would be changing for the better. Do you know what I'm saying? How do you find that ability to just like assert yourself that way?
I feel like you have to do it. You have to sometimes you might have to teach people how to treat you. And if they cannot learn that, then they don't need to be in your life. Like, I'm not I wouldn't say I'm a confrontational person, but I'm the type of person that calls things out, like, right away. So if something ever makes me feel uncomfortable, I don't think I can do this for however long that I'm with you, we gotta cut it right there and then, you know? So it's never something that was, like, difficult for me to ever, like, speak up on, you know?
It's weird. I find like when I'm in a work setting
Mhm.
where I've been like hired for my specific expertise, if somebody says something like differently abled, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stop you right there. That's not the
Yeah,
term.
correct them.
And I'll
'Cause
correct them. But in like real life, for some
yeah.
reason, like socially, I struggle a lot more
Mm,
to do it.
really?
And maybe it comes from like being so badly bullied, and so then wanting people to just accept me
Mhm.
and have me as a friend.
But then I feel like because I feel like genuinely sometimes it could be like a teaching moment. And if that person cannot like just listen to what you're saying and correct it, then I don't think that is a person that you want to, be around or even like want to please in a way like, oh, I don't want you to bully me because I'm like seeking your friendship. Like, F that. Since you're not willing to correct, is one thing like, okay, you genuinely do not know, and I'm telling you, or I'm giving you another perspective that you have just never thought of, then it should be an easy thing to be like, let me correct myself.
Hmm.
But I get that feeling that you're having. But I do think like, girl, say it. You
I'm
better
gonna
you better clock their
I'm
teeth.
gonna try to get better. I'm gonna try to get better. It is like weird to see this resurgence of the R word. I'm like, where is this coming from? Like,
Yeah.
has this whole new generation on social media like not been taught? Like
But also
how
I just feel like if the other generation have actually stopped saying it, then they wouldn't even know of it.
how has it come to be?
Do you
Yeah,
know what
like,
I mean?
and you know what? It is weird to me how many like even adults that I hear saying it,
Yeah.
where I'm like, you have an extensive vocabulary. There's so many words to pick.
It's crazy.
So we started this conversation by asking, who is Shalom Blac?
Mhm.
And I want to end this conversation by asking, what is it really like to be Shalom Blac?
Mm. Wow, that is a good question. Geez, you should have sent me that in an email first so I can really think about it. What is it like to be Shalom Black? I would say it is peaceful. It is consistent learning, and evolving. I love to genuinely just like learn new things, um, and just discover who I am as a person and keep basically chasing this dream of mine. And yeah, did I answer that question pretty good?
Every way you could answer is the right way.
But yeah, I feel like that's who Shalom is. I really strive to just be a good, decent person every day and be happy. I think happy, having peace, and having sanity. Because a lot of people are losing their shit.
Especially right now. My God. I love that you said peace, though, and that was the first word that came out of your mouth when I asked that question, because so much of your life, you didn't have that.
Mhm.
And I see it in you. Like,
Yeah.
truly, I see it in your content. I see it every time I run into at events. Like, you have this aura of contentment
Thank
in
you.
who you are. And
Thank you.
that is such a beautiful thing to see.
Thank you. I'm so glad people can see it without me having to say it.
You
Appreciate
radiate that.
Oh,
Yeah, you
thank
do.
you.
And where can we all find you? Because trust me, her fashion, whatever about her makeup, your fashion, my God, I need like your sources. Like, send me your links,
Oh my,
because
I
you need
will.
to follow her on social just to keep up with the fits.
Thank
It's
you.
so good. So where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Shalom Blac. That is black without the K. Pretty much everywhere is the same, Shalom Blac.
Go follow. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having this conversation with me, Shalom.
Of course.
Now we need to plan a double date.
Yes, please.
A trip. We can have Garden and Elton, and they can go play
Oh
in
my
the
gosh.
backyard.
Garden loves dogs. He will be so happy to do that.
He loves kids that love him.
Oh, really? Does he?
Yeah,
Because you know some dogs are like, I don't want to be around any of this rascals.
He doesn't want to be around kids who take attention from him. He
Okay.
wants to be around kids who give him attention.
I love
So
that.
if Garden loves Elton, Elton loves Garden. They can have fun. We'll have a little adult date.
Yes, please.
I love that. Thank
I
you
love
so
you.
much. I love you so much. And now you know what it's really like.